Oh, we're live already. Bing, bing.
Yeah, we should be good to go. I'm just waiting for the green light from
Okay.
Facebook here.
Okay.
And I'm seeing that we are live. So
Okay.
welcome everyone to Quantum Leap Live. And I have a very special guest today, Caterina Rando, who's really known all over the Bay Area and beyond for a number of things that she does, really her public speaking, her leadership, women's leadership. She calls it a fempire. I'll let her tell you more about that. But, she's very well known, and she is hugely impactful in the people that she helps. You really see the people who work with her really experience a quantum leap in results. I really was excited to have her on as a real big name guest and a personality to hear more about the woman behind the reputation. And we are missing Corey today. We had a busy day for a number of things, but we're going to kind of make do. And we're actually going to do part of a new format today where I'm just going to introduce her, and she's going to do our 10-minute presentation, which we've had before. But I first want to say welcome, Caterina, and how are you today?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be with you.
Great. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more in the debrief after, but I did want to first introduce you officially in terms of your bio, and then have you give us a presentation on essentially how to become a speakerpreneur, how to use public speaking to grow your business. And, Caterina serves women on a mission. Her over 25 years experience of educating and empowering entrepreneurs makes her truly masterful at providing a ton of value. She's all about positivity, integrity, generosity, community, and uplifting others. She's a sought after speaker, workshop and retreat leader, prolific author. Her books include Learn to Think Differently from Watkins Publishing, released in over 13 countries in several languages, A Woman's Guide to Starting a Giving Circle, and her latest book, The ABCs of Public Speaking, which quickly hit #1 in 4 Amazon bestseller categories. Caterina leads the Bliss Retreat for Women Leaders on a Mission, the Catapult Program, and the Thrive at Sales Program, all designed to support women to grow, thrive, and bliss in their businesses. She's also the host of the Expand Your Fempire podcast and creator of the Expand Your Fempire app. She also is the founder of the Thriving Woman in Business Center in San Francisco and started the Thriving Woman in Business, giving a group of big-hearted entrepreneurs who raise money for women and girls education and entrepreneurship training. Find out more at www.caterinarando.com. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Caterina.
That was a long introduction. All right. Bing, bing. Thank you, David. So happy to be with you. Everybody, let's take a deep breath. Now, you have your business. I'm assuming you want more clients. I'm assuming you want to grow and thrive and have your revenue soar. And you are probably thinking, either I'm already speaking and it's not working, or I'm speaking, it's working. Let's look at how to do it better. But also, if you don't love public speaking, I want to tell you that as a speakerpreneur, David, I don't think I've ever heard that word before. I love it. I'm borrowing it because here's the idea. Our mission is not to be the Tony Robbins, the Les Brown speaker. Our mission is to be of service, have people connect with us, build some influence, and as a result of that, they're going to choose to work with us. My first business was I owned a cafe and a catering business. Great place, best cappuccino you ever met in your life, tables outside, nice sunny corner. Here's the thing though, when you have a brick and mortar business, when it's not the pandemic, do you know how you get clients? You open the door and you turn on the lights. Well, when I started my business coaching business, I did what most people do. I went networking because it wasn't enough just to turn on the lights and open the door like in the cafe business. So I went networking, and you know what happened? I would be in a room, 20, 30, 40 other business owners, and they all seemed to have more business acumen than me. They all seemed to be better at networking. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do to be effective at this whole networking thing? Well, that's when I started to notice that most meetings have a speaker. And after the speaker talks, if the speaker's even halfway decent, people go up and talk to the speaker. And the speaker seems to always come home with some possibilities for clients. And so that's when I started to embrace speaking to grow my business. And I'm going to tell you something. Even in the early years, when I didn't really know about all the things to do during, before, after to come home with clients, I would still get a couple clients every time, because what you're doing when you're speaking is you're building Insta influence. And let me give you right now the influence equation. Okay, you ready for it? Here's the influence equation. Visibility plus value plus consistency equals influence. Now, visibility, and visibility is showing up, but it's not just showing up, it's making yourself known. Well, when you go networking, usually you get to introduce yourself, but who gets to make themselves the most known? The speaker, right? Also, there is something in psychology called the law of familiarity. And why this is important is because what it tells us is the more people see that you're speaking, they see your posts, even if they're not going to be going to those events, every time they see something about you, even every time they see your email in their inbox, it builds more influence. And in fact, people begin to feel like they know you, like you, and trust you, even when they never met you. That is pretty significant. And this is why visibility is so important. This is why all your social media counts. And this is why being visible as a speaker is highly effective. Because even the people that are not in the room when you speak, and I'm talking virtual now or live and in person, they see the promotion that you're going to be the speaker. And that builds influence. And I'm going to tell you something. I cannot tell you how many times someone has become a client who heard me speak 5, 10, 15 years ago. Now, at the time, they weren't ready for action, but my influence from all that time way back when carried into them being more open to working with me today. Because guess what? There's two kinds of potential clients for you. You ready for your two kinds of potential clients? There's the prove it to me potential client, and there's the show me potential client. And you know the difference? Influence. Okay, back to the influence equation. So we've got visibility, value, bing, 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 bing. Now, when you think of your value, you probably think of my education, my credentials, my a long client list, my experience. And yes, 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 all of that counts for your value. But here's what I want you to know. As a business person, as a speaker, what's so great is that through speaking, we get to communicate our values, and we get to communicate our genuine caring, and we get to communicate our genuine desire to serve. And I want to underscore these things because it is in communicating your caring, your heart as a business person, that has people resonate with you and often choose to work with you. Of course, you've heard the term wearing your heart on your sleeve. I want to encourage you to wear your heart all over your business, all over your speaking, all over your social media, and all over your business. And it is your heart skills, my friends, that are a big part of your speaking value and your business value, not just your expertise. Okay, we've got visibility, we've got value. And the third part of the influence equation is consistency. And this is important because when someone says to me, oh yeah, Caterina, I'm giving a speech, I say, bing, bing, that's great. When was your last one and when's your next one? Because it's consistency over time that creates results. And here's the other thing. It is consistency that also moves us towards mastery. Because the goal is not just to learn some stuff. The goal is not just to do some stuff. The goal is to master whatever you're doing in your business. And this is why I say to my friends, don't wait until you're ready. First of all, ready is a myth, okay? You want to act when you're willing. If you're willing, like this whole new thing about Clubhouse, everybody's on. I'm on Clubhouse. Did I wait a week before I did my first event? No, because I know that it's in the doing that I'm going to learn how to do it, okay? So if you're thinking about speaking, please do not get ready to begin to think about getting going. Here's all you need. You ready? I'm going to give it to you right now. You need a date, you need a topic, you need a price. And by the way, let me say this. When the pandemic hit way back in March 13th, 2020, I said to all my clients, I want you to immediately start a Zoom thing. And you know what? Many of them had their best year ever. I want you to every month do a Zoom thing. I want you to always have a Zoom thing to invite people to where you can share your massive value. And as a result, people can get to know you and then you can invite them to be your client. Okay, I got a lifetime supply of more stuff to share with you, but I'm going to pause right there, David, and go back to you.
Excellent. Well, great work. Thanks for giving us a little bit of a insight on some of these themes. And, that was all really music to my ears. And I really appreciated so much of what you said and how you really have a lot of this down to a science. And I wrote a little bit of a crib sheet, but I wanted to kind of start with what I would call, maybe the $1 million question, so to speak, but maybe about if somebody is just watching this, how do you get started as a speaker? I know you said don't wait to get started, but what are some things that you can do right now to develop yourself as a public
Okay,
speaker?
well, and that's what I'm saying. Pick a date, pick a topic. The free is fine because we're talking about a Zoom event. And also, David, we're talking about a 1-hour event. Okay, not a big long workshop, because here's the thing, most people will give you an hour. And even if they don't really know you, because the truth is, if we ask for 3 days and we don't really know them, they're not going to give us 3 days, because our ask cannot exceed the amount of influence we have built. But people will give you 3 days. David, I know you're very big in BNI. All of your BNI community, they'll give you an hour because you're part of their BNI community, right? But they're not going to give you 3 days if they don't know you. So this is the thing. We want to start with an easy yes. What's the easy ask? Invite them to come to your virtual Zoom thing. And as a result, about 20 to 30% of those people will choose to be a yes if you invite them to have a conversation with you about working together. Now, but here's the thing. There's 4 kinds of clients, okay? There's not just the prove it to me and the show me. There's also these 4. The Insta client, they hear your talk, they say, bing, bing, David, you're what I've been looking for. Yay, you just got an Insta client. But then there's the slow cooker. They're going to take 3 to 6 months. Then there's the super slow cooker. They're going to take up to a year. And then there's the super, super slow cooker, and they're going to take more than a year. And why it's important to recognize that there's 4 different types of clients in terms of how long it takes them to get in the door is that often people say, okay, well, if they're not Insta, then I'll follow up with them in 3 months or 6 months. And I am anti this strategy because I want everybody to recognize. David, are you a Star Trek fan?
I appreciate the show. I don't know a whole lot about it, but yeah, I really loved some of the effects and
Okay, well, I'm asking because what I want everybody to do when they hear people say, not now, not the right time, can't afford it, whatever their communication is about not moving forward as a client, I want everybody to take that and I want them to put it through their Star Trek Universal Translator, okay? And what it translates into is you need to build more influence with me because nobody buys from us until we have influence. But the unfortunate thing is that Bob might need just a little influence and Sherry might need a little bit more and Stephen might need a ton more because he's been burned. So we never really know how much influence we have to build with people. But what we do know is that we have to keep them engaged. And so by always having a Zoom thing, we have something to keep inviting people back to. And even if your topic is the same next month, I say, hey, it's going to be totally different. Please come again. And you know what happens? If any of these people are interested, they do come back. And after the second time, some of them are ready to get started. Some of them, it takes 3 times. I've had people 5 times, but that's okay because if I want them as a client, I keep inviting them back to build more influence. And I want people to know this because I love to teach sales also, because the biggest thing I see is that people give up. They say, oh, that person's not going to join me. So they give up. So it's really important that you use your Zoom thing to keep inviting your potential clients too.
great. I appreciate that. And I've heard that stat that most people take an average of 7 touches, so to
Right.
speak, to get that sale. So if you give up, you're going to you're only going to get the Insta clients, but you're not
Right.
going to build nearly a successful business on the Insta clients only. You got to go into those
Exactly.
slow cookers and the super slow cookers.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you something, Dave. A couple of weeks ago, I had a lady join my business as a client. And I'm going to tell you something. 6 years I've been talking to this beautiful soul. And there is nothing sweeter than when a super, super slow cooker finally says yes. And the other thing is that they usually stick around and become long-term clients because you you were with them for so long to get them in the door that they tend to be all in, they tend to be loyal, but if you give up too early, you're going to miss out on all that revenue.
Well put. And I would just say that you're one of the few people I hear, the only other person I've heard talk about, this concept of influence in the Bay Area. And it's something I've just started studying, but I think that that's such a powerful concept and in terms of how you have it down to that formula. Could you just talk a little bit more about
Yeah.
what influence is and
Yeah.
maybe repeat that formula? I just feel like that's one of those things that you almost have to study to really understand it.
Yeah, well, let's take a moment to say what is influence, okay? Influence is the ability to sway or alter people's thoughts, their beliefs, and or their actions. Okay, now that is significant. You are having the ability and you are cultivating the ability to sway people's actions, to sway their thoughts, to sway their beliefs. And part of it is because hopefully what you're talking about when you're doing your Zoom thing or you're speaking overall is you're helping them recognize what they didn't know that you're shining the light on and you're illuminating, which is whatever your hot topic is. And the influence equation is visibility, that we want to keep up our visibility. And this is why the consistency is the third part of it. Visibility plus value plus consistency. It's important to recognize, though, that your value is not just your expertise, it is also your heart skills that you bring to your business, your genuine caring. I'm going to be this is a advanced conversation, but we're going to put this in here. When I'm in a Zoom room with people and I'm the speaker or the facilitator, I want everybody in my Zoom room to feel seen, heard, valued, welcomed, included, cared for, to know that they matter and they have massive value to bring. That is my job, not just to give a talk. Okay. Because why? Because my goal is not for people to at the end of my talk, I don't want people to say, oh, Caterina, you're a good speaker. Okay, guess what? That's not what I'm there for. What I want them to say is, hey, Caterina, how do I work with you? Or how do I get started? Or where do I sign up? Right? That's what I want. And that's not about speaking. This is different. This speakerpreneur idea is not about speaking, being a phenomenal speaker. It's about communicating your value and communicating your genuine caring and bringing massive value during your talk so that people are so clear that you're the solution for them.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most misunderstood points. I heard the line of people don't care how much you know until
Right,
they know how much you care.
right.
And you talked about this wearing your heart on your sleeve.
No, all over your business, all over,
Yeah,
wear it all over.
which and then this importance of core values, and this is something we talk about on this show. We've started to drill down a little bit more, but could you just talk about the importance that core values play in speaking, and you actually go
Sure.
out of your way to illustrate your core values, if you don't mind maybe saying kind of what your core values are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I wear my heart all over my business, and love is a value, and I love my clients and I love my work, and I want to not be afraid to love the people that I get to work with, because you know what? There's a lot, we could all use a lot more love in our life, regardless of who we are. Integrity is paramount. I only want clients with integrity. And in fact, one of the things I teach my clients is to create a client criteria. Okay. It's not, just because they want to work with you doesn't mean they get to. You want to have clients that have the same values as you. Love, integrity, generosity. Generosity looks good on everybody. Generosity is not just money, it's also generous with your resources, generous with your time, generous with making connections for people. Generosity is another important value. Community. I'm all about community, because you know what? I want my clients to get more than me. I want them to get an amazing community of like-minded, like-hearted women on a mission just like them, because then that enriches their client experience. And you know what happens when they have a rich client experience? They keep coming back as a client. Okay, these are some of the top values by which I run my business. I will tell you, David, one that I've added, which is not my nature, is efficiency, because I'm a very creative person. So I have what I call brilliant idea syndrome, come up with a new brilliant idea every day. But one of the things I continue to focus on also is being efficient in my business. And that's your standard operating procedures, that's your checklists, making decisions once, not a new decision every day. And this is something, especially for our creative listeners, that I want to encourage them to embrace. There's more, but those are some of my hot ones.
Great. And somebody who I look up to is John Maxwell, and he actually says a thing where we want to have agreement on our vision and our core values, but then diversity on everything else. So I love this concept of the fempire and how you've really built it around your core values, and you encourage inclusion, but then people can kind of think for themselves once you kind of share all these core values that you teach and represent. Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want people with the same values as me to work with. Okay. If they're not about community, if they're not about integrity, and also, of course, being of service, then they're not going to probably resonate with me. And that's okay, because, my mom says, that's why Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors, right? We're not everybody's flavor, and that's okay, because we're looking for the people that are the same, liking the same flavor as us, meaning the same values.
Well put. And I am going to put some of the links in the chat, but if you don't mind just kind of giving us a lay of the land for some of these groups and professional networks that you're involved in, and how people can get involved and how these
Yeah,
networks can contribute to their success.
sure. Sure. Well, I do want to mention that if you go to CaterinaRando.com/events, you can come to my next workshop at no cost because I always got a free Zoom thing to invite you to. So take a look at that. There's one coming up in a few days. And then we have a 3-hour workshop every month as well. And I actually am on Clubhouse and I'm running rooms on Clubhouse all the time on hot topics of interest to business owners. And I have a group on Facebook, Thriving Women in Business group, that everyone's invited to join. And also, what else? I got a lifetime supply. Please check out our podcast, Expand Your Fempire, and download our free app called Expand Your Fempire. And please give me a 5-star review on either of those. And I am blessing that we get to bring massive value this way through the app and through the podcast. And I am happy to talk to everybody. Reach out to me on Facebook. I love Facebook. I am Miss Facebook or Ms. Facebook, and I would be happy to connect with you. The most important thing I want to say is that, we are responsible for our own success. And it's necessary that we can be uncomfortable as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of uncomfortableness. But the thing is, we have to be willing to be uncomfortable. But the beautiful thing is, the more uncomfortable we are, the more we get to moving towards mastery and being comfortable at way more than we were when we started.
Yeah, well put. That's such a powerful gold nugget right there. And I feel like I've gotten to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that as I've been on this journey of personal growth, and that's such a powerful thing of this quest for mastery. So I
Mhm.
really appreciate all the things that you say and that are a part of, and you live it. You live the Fempire. I did want to ask if who you're looking for as your ideal client, if somebody's out there thinking, well, you know, is this woman right for
Yeah.
me?
Well, thank you so much for asking, David. I work with women who consider themselves on a mission. So if their business is their mission, then they're a good match for me. I work with women that have service businesses because that is where my sweet spot is. And I can really make a difference for them. And if they like to speak or they want to speak, then we can really do some great work together because most of my clients are also speakerpreneurs, as you say, and use speaking to grow their business. One more thing, I also teach women how to do retreats. And I run an amazing retreat called the Bliss Retreat that we will do at the beginning of next year. And so if anyone's interested in that, run, don't walk to talk to me because I love to support women to get going with their retreats also.
Great. I will put all the links to some of those events in the chat. I notice on LinkedIn, I didn't have room for all the links of all the events and things that you're involved in, but feel free to pop those in the comment section of any new events that are coming up. And we'd love to have you be a part of, a future event that we're going to have as a,
That'd be great.
a keynote
I'm
speaker.
an Insta yes, David.
Great. Well, so good to have you, and we'll look forward to having you back soon and continuing to follow you as really a role model in all that you do. So
Thank you so much for your kind words. I so appreciate it.
thank you, Caterina. Well, we'll end it there. Thanks everyone for watching this edition of Quantum Leap.